Hey everyone, Sandy here from Bella Rose Quilts. I hope you got through block 1 okay and you finished all 4 blocks. Now we're going to do block 2. I have some good tips in here for that, and let's get started. So now we're going to move on to block 2, which looks a little bit more difficult, but it isn't so bad. It's actually pretty easy. We finished block 1. Now it's 2. So again, organization is key to this quilt. You want to make sure every little piece is labeled. And when you're reading the cutting chart, remember that the white section of the chart is going to be your background cutting. And then the orange color is going to be your pumpkin. And then the dark orange is the bow. And then you go back to white again. And then you go to the gray, which is your stem. So first we're going to lay it all out. Let me show you what it's going to look like. Here's one right here. Here's a block 2. So you see I have all of these points going together. Pretty simple once you lay it out. You can see it's just like the last one. Corner square triangles. And so first thing we're going to do is we're going to lay out all of our eyes, just like we did before. All of our eyes, and I know I have a little white down here, but it's going to be cut in my seams. And I'm going to take my G's. So these are my eyes. These are my G's, background fabric. And the G's are going to go here and here. 2 of them. I'm going to use our pen and draw our line across like we did before. Our ruler. On the wrong side, corner to corner. Here. And then we have the H's are going to go here. Here's my H. Make sure you sew it on the wrong side. And my other little ruler. This is my favorite ruler. Line on that one. Okay. Here, 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 and here. And we're going to glue all of these down. I'm using my Acorn Precision Glue. When I glue it, I just put my finger on the corner and then I adjust to line everything up with the edges. A little bit more on that one. So now the pumpkin base is ready. And then I'm going to take my ends, these up here. My end is the top of the pumpkin. The little, let's see, where's it at? Up here. So, end is the first layer, and we have 4 ends. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So if you want your writing up if you're using the same one I'm using. Turn it like that. And then on in, you need to have this blue fabric, which is going to be your corners here, and we're going to glue those on. So now we're going to take these 4, and these are our ends, and we're going to place the J's here on all the corners. Here's my J's, and I already marked the line across the bottom, across the corner to corner, and I'm going to put the glue on all of them. Make it go a little faster. Okay, these are teeny, so holding your finger down there on the point helps. So I chain pieced all of my blocks. I did this to every single block. Got them all ready and sewed as much as I could, except for the last block, so I could save it to show you guys. So those are all ready, except we have one more. That there. And so those are done. I'm going to just move these up because these are our ends here. And next we're going to sew our M's, which this is your M's right here. M and M. And we're going to sew 2 background fabrics to the corner of M. So let me get my M's. Two M's. Go ahead and look at the writing if you're using the writing. And the 2 backgrounds are G's. Make sure you have the right side. Sometimes I have to hold it on the fabric. And I'm going to draw a corner on it. And we're just going to put them on the outside corners like that. Right way. And that's your M's. Okay, now we're going to go to the sewing machine. Okay. So again, I don't want to start sewing in the corner because it's just going to pull it down in the hole, the needle hole there. So I'm going to start on the straight edge. I'm just going to follow the line. Sew all these together. If you have a knee lifter, learn to use it. Or the Berninas have a hover command, which when you stop sewing, the needle goes up. I like that as well. I just have it turned off right now. It's nice to use the glue because you don't have to mess around with the needles, and these are such teeny pieces. I'm just chain piecing them in there, one after the other. We have our eyes. I leave this piece in, and then I just chain the rest of them in there. Careful not to cut your threads. Okay, these two are done. We're gonna sew the other side of this one. Don't forget to go back and get the one that started the chain, because it's still not sewn. This one. And I'm going to go over and press all of these towards the corner. Press it closed, press it to the corner, I'm gonna like stack these in a line so I can put them all underneath my clapper. Make sure you're pressing your fabric and not doing this, because that will distort it. Flat underneath there. Getting all these little ones. We'll stick a clapper on them. I'm going to move on to the big ones. And let those cool. So I pressed everything towards the outer corner. Now I'm going to cut off my little corners. So now that we got our chain sewing done of most of the corners, we're going to take a look at how it goes together. These go like this. Just like this. And so we're going to sew these together and these together. Like I did before. You could press these open, but you have the glue on there, so you can't. So if you want to press open, you need to think about pinning and not gluing. But I just line up these corners, and I can see one's like maybe a little longer, but if I press it up, they line up perfectly, and then I have butted corners. The other one. I only do this when they're big pieces. It's kind of hard to do when they're little pieces. Like I'll do 2 and 2 of those. So I'm lining up the seams again. I'm going to press the top one up. Everything lines up perfectly. Our seams are nesting. Okay, so I'm going to sew those. I'm going to sew these together. Again, I'm going to put opposing seams. Put them right up against each other. Nest those right in. Okay, I'm gonna go sew. Okay, so I sewed all of these together and I did press the seams open. As you can see, everything's matching up as it should. And then this is the top of the pumpkin. And again, I pressed the seams where they nested and then I pressed this open and you got nice sharp little points. And so now we're gonna work on the top part, the stem. This goes here. So this is how the top looks. You have your stem, which mine is gray, which is the Q, and then the F. So I drew a line from corner to corner, and I'm gonna just glue it on real quick like while I'm up there. Get it over. So there's that. And then my bow here is orange and it's K. And on K, we're going to put an E corner here and we're going to put a P corner down here. They're just a little bit different in size. So I'm going to glue those on really quick like. And the colors are different. The bottoms match the top of the pumpkin. So mine are this color. And the way I lined mine up was when it flipped back, I wanted to be able to read the writing. So it would be glued on this way. And it's upside down, so it's gonna go this way. There you go, so you can read it. So I'm going to put my glue right here. I'm gonna glue this down. And same here, when I flipped it over, I can now read the writing. That just says different names of trees. Okay, now we're gonna come up here and I'm gonna put this one on here. This one on here. And they're all glued and I'm going to go sew these all together. Okay, so now I'm going to trim off the corners. That's our stem. This is our bow. Bow, stem. Next, we got to get piece O and put it right here. And piece D is going to go here and here, like this. I'll show you what it looks like. So you can see. So we have to have the top of the pumpkin color. And here. Oh. And I make the writing go up again, directional. And then in here is an orange. Get the number to that. And that's L right here. So I'm going to sew all three of these together. And then I'm also going to sew on 2 C's next to them. 2 C's. So that whole section's going to go together. But first these are going to go to this, and one's going to go to this. And that'll be the top, and then I'll piece this together, and that'll be the bottom. Okay, so now we have to sew these together, and we want to match this seam up with that seam. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark 1/4 of an inch line where we want them to cross. And I'm going to do it here. I'll do it over here for the other side. Right. Okay. And then I'm going to draw on this side. So let's see what we got here. We have our stem and we have our bow. So I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to stick a pin. There's a thread there. I'm going to stick a pin. I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to put one pin in here on this line, and then I'm going to put a pin in here on that line. I could see the line through the white fabric. I'm going to do the same down here. Pin, pin. You can see it through there. I'm just holding that pin out straight. I don't want to make like a big twisting because it'll... Okay, so now that we have these pieced together, I've marked the lines here, the 1/4 inch, and I marked them on the back side. So I'm going to stick my pin in right here on the mark, and I'm going to stick it in here, and then I'm going to stick, I'm going to stick a pin here, and one here, and then I'm going to stick one in here at the mark. Move the thread out of the way here. And then I'm going to stick it on this line here. And I'm going to pin it. Same here. Pin this in first. Right in there, and right in there, and I'm going to sew it. Okay, so I did that one. Now I'm going to come over here and I'm going to do the same thing, except I want to mark a 1/4 of an inch here, and I'm going to mark it over here as well. Oh, I guess I didn't need one right there after all. And I'm going to put my pin in. I'm going to actually match up my ends first. Makes it easier. Holds it up so it's not pulling on you. Pin in here, pin right there at that seam, pin it, pin right here by the line and right on the seam line. And I will sew that together. Okay, so they're sewn together. I got a little bit of fullness in here, and that's because I tugged it a little bit, but it'll press fine. And then that didn't quite match there, but I'm good with that. So I'm going to turn it over and I'm going to press these seams open because there is a lot going on here. But first I'm going to go ahead and attach this to here and this to here. Okay, so I sewed all this together and all the little marks are gone. Everything's nice and flat. I'm going to turn it over and you can see I pressed my seams open. And now I'm going to attach this here. Nothing needs to match up on this, so we're kind of lucky here. So I'm just going to pin it real quick like, and then I'll go and sew it. That's Shelby squeaking her ball. Wait till they both get going. It sounds like a bunch of birds chirping. Okay, I'm going to sew this, and I'm also going to pin this one on right here, so I can sew them at the same time. And there is nothing to match there. So I will head on over to the sewing machine and do this. Oops, I think this is a blooper, another blooper. What you're going to do here now is I'm just laying out my left and my right sashings. And then I'm going to put my top and my bottom on. First thing you want to do is you're going to sew on the left and the right. So I'm going to go over to the sewing machine and come right back. And here you go. You can see I sewed on the left and the right side. I press my seams towards the sashing. Now I'm going to sew on the top and the bottom. And I'm going to press them towards the sashing as well. But you can see it turned out really cute. All my writing's going in the right direction. My next block is the yellow buffalo check. And I made the middle one where it didn't match to give it a little bit of dimension. But I don't know, it may drive me crazy forever. The next one, I matched everything up. Not as quite as interesting as the yellow one. And then my last one of block 2, it's really pretty as well. Thanks for joining me, and I will see you for block 3.